All right, so that will, so this will be your score out of 100. And this will tell you how your score compares to most people in your industry, and it'll have your industry right there. So that'll be extra insights to what industry this is up here. And then it'll tell you kind of like how your people in your network are ranking as well. So it's very insightful. Okay. So for your professional brand, you want to complete your profile with the ideal viewer in mind, right? So if you're trying to get a job, who is your ideal person that you're kind of speaking to? If you're trying to talk to the recruiters, the HR, the hiring manager, etc., you want to think about them as you engage within the profile. Some tips: make sure your profile is complete as possible. Make sure you have those transferable skills in the descriptions for your existing positions. You want to write a bio that tells a little bit about you, what you're looking for, skills you can provide. You can utilize some keywords. Where do you guys think we get the keywords? Anna, where do you think we find those keywords to include in our bio?
Does it not just go with like the stuff that you've done, like in your past?
Okay, where's another place that we can find some ideas for keywords?
You can look them up, kind of just online.
Online where? Where do we think is a good place to find keywords?
The resume you're filling out.
Okay, resume. We cater our resume to what?
The job description.
Yeah, right. So we can look at job descriptions for roles that we might think that we want. If you have any skills that match those or those keywords that they're looking for, remember, a lot of the job search process is automated these days. So you'll have the bots or the algorithm searching profiles for keywords, and that's how you'll come up in search results for recruiters when they're on the back end trying to use LinkedIn to find prospects. So if you have a job description that you want to get, or you have a job description of interest, you can look through that and extract keywords from there and then put them in your actual bio so that your profile comes up when those keywords are searched. Then, of course, you can mirror that in your resume and your job descriptions as well, okay? You can post some thoughtful things, right? So as a student in K-State, what would we post? Things like articles, right? So there was an article I saw yesterday about like how to stop thinking about your job at 3 a.m. If you want to post something about work-life balance, that would be a good article to post, right? Updates to your field. So tax season is coming up for those that would be like accounting or in finance or something like that. If there's some type of update to the field, which you can find by following those big news outlets or industry leaders in the field, and then you can just reshare that information. But make sure you read it first to make sure you agree with what you're resharing always, okay? Any K-State news, like when they're announcing scholarships or your peers are announcing their internships or K-State wins awards, etc. You can follow the K-State and the College of Business profiles and then reshare that information. Department news, CBA updates. These are all content suggestions for someone in college, okay? Finding the right people. Utilizing your search results, right? So finding our guest speaker and knowing her name. Her name was on the last slide, but I'll type it in the chat. And she was at Hudamaki. So her name was Kelly Rouse, and she's at Hudamaki. So if you want to find her, you could use the search feature to find her and then connect from there. Of course, include a note as Dr. Anna had instructed you guys, okay? Some good or tips there. If you're in groups, like I believe the NSSI has a page, so you can follow that, the sales center. You can follow specific hashtags. You can follow or like jobs, and then look at people or follow people that are like a recruiter for that job. Join in on conversations and just observe, right? So observe kind of what people are saying first, and then kind of jump in. So a lot of it is research and just kind of figuring out and get a lay of the land. And then of course, sharing content. Engaging with insights. What does that really look like? What insights are there? You get information from LinkedIn on your likes and your comments and who's looking at your profile. And sometimes you can't see who's actually looking at your profile because you might not have a premium, or they might have premium, so they have the ability to cut it off of who can see that they looked. But you can engage those types of insights, as well as when you post, it tells you like how many people have seen it, how many people have reacted to it. You talk about your comments, and then you go in and kind of like or respond to comments as they come in. This is the dashboard that it'll look like. So it'll tell you like, this is how many people have viewed your profile. This is how many people have viewed your post. This is how many search appearances you've come up in. How do you guys think this person came up in these search appearances? Emily, how do you think they appeared in these searches? Why them?
People have been able to see their post, and so once they see their post, they're going to want to go see more about the person.
Yep, that's a good way. What's another way? Sean.
I guess it like from my experience, when I'm like looking someone up, like I can just type in experience or like the job title and something, right? So they'll just come up through that.
Yep, this is true. So think about it like job title. You can search a job title and people will come up. You can search keywords and people will come up, hashtags, and then you'll see who's posting what content utilizing that hashtag. So these are all ways that you can come up in search results. That's why one of the reasons why LinkedIn is so powerful, because it's branding you without you actively branding you. So it's like you go into a career fair every day, essentially, but you don't actually have to go to it. So that's nice, right? Okay, building relationships. Really just talking about how you interact with people. I know when I was in college, I never understood what people meant when they say like you need to build relationships. It's really just the kind of the art of networking, right? Just having that continued conversation and engaging with people. Sharing content also helps you build those relationships because they're understanding and learning more about you. So some ways you could do this: connect with your classmates, right? So right now on Zoom, this is a great example. We have all these names here. You can look these people up that are your classmates on LinkedIn and add them, and that starts to build your network. Then you get second and third degree connection suggestions based on those people in your network. Okay, you have students, staff, alumni, and professors. So you have at least, I don't know how many majors there are of each field, but you have a lot of options to start building that network. Okay, connecting with your guest speakers is always an option as well. Once we get to the role play section of the semester, connecting with the buyers that will do your role play is always a good move as well. And then you can also go through and look for people with commonalities, like industries you're interested in, different education. So maybe you want to connect with somebody that's at Baylor's sales program in your field or your specialty of choice. Okay. Any questions on any of this? Okay. If you have questions, you can raise your hand, come off mute, or pop it in the chat. All right. So let's do a little concept review. I think Dylan wants to go first. Dylan, you ready? Do you have to work in sales to be in sales or to do sales?
No, you don't.
Okay. Why not?
Because no matter what job you go into, you're gonna have to sell yourself to that employer.
Okay.
No,
What else
that's
will you have to do?
um I don't know.
Your ideas, right? In
Yeah.
every situation, you have to pitch an idea at some point in time. So you got to sell that idea and roll people in your vision, right? Make sense?
Yep.
All right. What's one myth about sales and why is it false? Grayson.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Brianna, can you help him out? We covered 8 myths about sales. What's one of them?
That you don't have to be an extrovert to be in sales.
Okay. Why is that false? Or why do you not have to be an extrovert to be in sales?
Because sales requires like a lot of listening skills. You don't necessarily have to have like a super outgoing, talkative personality in order to do well, because it's more
Yep.
about listening and realizing what the customer wants.
Yep. Great job. What are some skills needed to succeed in sales? Let's go to Allie.
You need to be a good listener to like understand your customer.
Let's go to Alfredo for another one. All right, not sure Alfredo's with the. Oh, there we go.
You gotta be a good negotiator.
A good negotiator. Great job. Yes, that's true. What about Britt? What skill do you think is necessary to succeed in sales?
You kind of got the ones where you have to be a good listener. You have to be personable, I think. You have to be able to build relationships with the people you're trying to sell to. I mean, you have to be a likable person, I feel like. Know everything that you're trying to sell and be knowledgeable.
Yep, I like it. Great job. What types of roles are what types of roles are options for a sales career? Let's go to Adam for this one.
So you could be just a general salesman. Like I think of insurance. That's one of the roles that I think of.
Yep.
So something like an account manager or a strategic account manager. Those are two
All
other
right.
ones.
Yep, I'll take it. Which compensation structure do you prefer and why? Rachel.
The one where it's like a set salary and then you get, the harder you work or the more you sell, you get extra commission or like benefits.
Okay. Connor, which one is she describing? What's the name for it?
The one like where you is it a base salary plus commission?
It is. So base salary plus commission, you get that set salary, y'all negotiate, they say they'll pay you $40,000 a year, and then you make 10% commission based on whatever you sell, right? You sell 500,000, you get 10% of that on top of your 40,000. Okay. Rachel, why do you prefer that one?
Because it's kind of reassuring to know you have money coming into your account for everyday life, but if you put more effort in it, you can reap the benefit of it.
Yep, awesome. Good job. Good answer. Okay. So any questions about the concept review? All right, let's go ahead and get rocking with chapter 2. So we're going to talk about the buying process today. Super important to understand the buying process as a salesperson, because you have to understand what process they are going through to get to buy. All right. Some learning objectives. We're going to talk about what exactly is the buying role, how and why sellers need to understand it. All buyers are not created equal, what types of buyers there are, what are their buying motivations, all right? So why should people buy? What circumstances lead to them buying? What are the decision criteria and how do they come up with that? Features and benefits that are important to buyers, what their process looks like, how we understand those, factors influencing the buying process, and then how salespeople can reduce risk and increase trust. All right. So the buying process, everybody on this call is a consumer. You guys buy something at some point in time. There's no one that doesn't, because we all need stuff or to survive, right? So the buyer's process, all the decisions, considerations, evaluations involved when you are making a purchase, right? If you think about going down the street to Walmart, you're trying to buy gum. What caused you to buy that gum? Maybe you have it's a nervous tick and you want to chew something, helps you maintain attention and pay attention in class. Maybe you want to make sure you have fresh breath as you're on the go and moving through all of your classes and then your work or whatever else you have going on, right? But when you get to the gum aisle, you have to make some decisions. You have some considerations that you have to evaluate. What flavor do you want? How long is it going to last? If there is a chew elasticity of it, like Orbit has a little rectangular piece, but Extra is a longer, flatter piece, right? With the buoyancy of it. Are we thinking about all of these things consciously? Or are they subconscious decisions, right? How we're making all these decisions is layered with different considerations, right? So you have, if you want grape, does every brand have grape? If every brand does not have grape, then that eliminates some brands automatically, okay? So what happens from the buyer's perspective? We recognize need, right? I need gum to, getting old, gum increases your digestion, right? So if I eat a meal that's super starchy or greasy, I chew gum after it to help with the digestive process. I don't know. That's what the doctor said. So that's what I do, right? So I know that's my need. I recognize, all right, I need gum after these particular meals. Boom, we have the recognizing the need. Then we research possible solutions. Okay, what taste do I want after I eat? I don't want spearmint or something like that. Maybe a nice cinnamon, like a simulated dessert type of situation. So I'm researching possible solutions. What are the brands that have a cinnamon? Determine important criteria to me. Okay, do I care which brand it is? Is there a difference? Do I want the 25 stick pack or the 60 stick pack? What are my decision criteria? What am I utilizing to make this decision? What are my deal breakers? Okay. Evaluate options. Look at the options that are there and then pick based on my decision criteria. Make a decision, buy it, and then evaluate it. I'm chewing it. It's nasty. I don't want this brand anymore. I don't want this flavor anymore. I don't want this shape anymore. Okay. Why do you think a seller needs to understand this process? Let's go to Dayton for this one.
They need to take it as slow as possible and figure out the buyer that they're selling to so they know exactly how to sell the product.
Okay, good answer. They need to figure out what process the person is going through so they know okay, this is how I can appeal to them during this process. This is the stage that they're in. If you're trying to understand, if you're trying to explain possible solutions to somebody after when they're evaluating their options and they're making their final decision, it's probably a little too late, right? So when we think about business, we have two different types. We have business to business, that's one business selling to another business. And then we have business to consumer, that's a business that's selling to a consumer. What's an example of a business to business, Lauren? Any examples you could think of that's one business selling to another business?
It could be like selling like insurance to another business, like an insurance company selling insurance to like another company.
Okay, the insurance, one company selling insurance to another company. That's good. KB, what's an example of business to consumer?
I would say like just like going to Walmart and stuff, that's a business selling to us.
Yep, a business selling to a consumer, going into Walmart. Super simple. You are as a single sole consumer going into a retail establishment. All right. When we think about buyer versus seller, the buyer is the company or the organization that's actually acquiring something, and the seller is the one that is selling, right? It's super simple, very intuitive, but we have to talk about it, okay? Another example coming through the chat, B2B, medical device sales company selling to a hospital, right? So somebody has to sell those x-ray machines into a hospital. Who's doing that? Another company. B2C, or Target, right? Or Target, as they like to say, and selling to customers that are walking in, okay? So seller, we have buyer, seller, and then supplier or vendor, okay? Buyer is the acquiring body, seller, supplier, vendor is the party that's disseminating the product or service, okay? All those terms are interchangeable. All right, so this is the process that we're going through: need recognition, information search, evaluate alternatives, purchase, and post-purchase evaluation. Why do we think we have this post-purchase evaluation? Anthony, why do you think we have that process? Why is that part of this process? Post-purchase evaluation.
Just so you can make sure after, once you purchase, it's important to look back and evaluate whether or not you want to do that again. It's kind of the same situation.
Yeah. Are you satisfied? How was your experience? Right there, if you go on Amazon, you see a bunch of people giving their feedback of if they were satisfied or not. It's super important at the end of this process to evaluate, to say, well, I want to purchase this again. This gum was nasty. I don't want it no more. Right. So when we talk about the types of buyers, we have multiple. Okay. We have a consumer. That's you, me, everybody on this call. We are consumers, solitary person that is out buying. Then we have a retail buyer, and an organizational buyer, and an institutional or government buyer. Okay. So here's some examples. A consumer, regular person going out buying to fulfill their personal or familial needs, okay? I'm hungry, I go to Wendy's, I get a hamburger and fries because I'm hungry. I need towels, I go to Walmart, I buy towels because my kid pooped all over the floor and I gotta wipe it up, right? A retail buyer is somebody that works in an organization like a department store, big box store, which would be like a Walmart department store, like a Dillard's, boutiques, small mom and pop stores, all those retail stores that a consumer would go in and make a purchase. They have to have inventory, right? If you go to, we've been experiencing this with the supply chain shortage. How many of you guys have gone in a store and they have not had what you're looking for? Anybody have that experience? Yeah. Yep. So if you go into Walmart, they don't have a lot of Gatorade, right? So retail buyer is the person at the headquarters of Walmart trying to make sure that they have that inventory for consumers to come in and buy. Okay, so when we think about the job titles, buyer, associate buyer, buyer assistant, furniture stores have buyers to make sure that they have everything they need. Interestingly enough, for a retail buyer, it's a B2B situation, right? If I work for a local furniture store, I'm trying to make sure I have chairs, beds, tables. I have to get that from another company. So that's a B2B situation to be available for the end user who is a consumer. Okay. Organizational buyer. This is a company that purchases materials to make something else. So as Kelly was talking about on Tuesday, if they know they make molded fiber containers, they have to buy all the materials so that they can manufacture those materials. Okay. Your manufacturers, your distributors, all those people are the ones that are navigating that process and making those. It's like buying the raw materials to create those products for the end user. Okay. Then we have the institutional or government buyers. Those are the people like a K-State where we're buying, and not necessarily in bulk, but we're buying for the usage of our employees, like the computer labs that we have at K-State, we buy in to service the people that work or are engaged with that actual organization. Does that make sense? Any questions on the buyer types? All right. So consumers are going to be your biggest subset of buyers because it's a bunch of people, okay? Again, retail buyers, and these will be in your notes. That'll you'll see them in Canvas next week. Retail buyers already manufactured products and they resell them. Lots to do in this. They're managing the budget because they're actually buying stuff for the inventory levels. They're managing the inventory levels. They have to do forecasting to make sure that they keep up with demand so that we don't go into the store and have those empty shelf situations. Okay. Organizational, talked about that. They try to purchase a wide variety of products and services. We have two subsets here. Direct procurement is the product or service being used to provide to the end user. So we're buying stuff to utilize it, to create something for the end user. We're buying materials to create it and then giving it to the end user, or indirect where we're using it in the company operations. So that's like your John Deere buying laptops for its employees to use those laptops. Okay. Then we have institutional. This is different from company because it's like your schools, universities, hospitals, government offices from local, state, and federal. And then you have of course, the federal government is the largest purchaser in the country because they are doing a lot. So they have that. The thing about institutional and government buyers is they have a very long buying process. They have to follow a lot of rules. So we have, Dell is a corporate partner for the NSSI. I was talking to one of the sales reps at Dell, and he only sells to government. So his sales cycle, or the process from going from kind of need recognition to buying and evaluating the outcomes, is a very long process, right? So it takes a lot of time. It's very rules driven and requires you to jump through a lot of hoops, right? They have a lot of red tape. They have a lot of policies, laws, etc. Around that process, okay? So why do we care? Let's go to Adam Jenkins. Adam, why does any of this matter?
Hold on. What in regards to what? Sorry, I was typing down the notes.
Yep, in regards to these different types of buyers, why do we care?
Well, if you don't know what type of buyer you're working with or like what they really need, then you can't really have like a reason to sell to them and can't really connect with them in any sort of way.
You have to know why they're looking. You have to know details about what type of buyer this is so that you can better adjust your sales presentation and conversations to be able to appeal to them, okay? Building on the connection of why they need your product or service, how they're going to use their product or service is important, because that's how you build the perception of value, right? As salespeople, we're offering and we're adding value to everybody's situation. We're trying to make them going with our solution worthy, right? We're trying to prove we are the solution that they need. If we can't understand their business model, aka what type of buyer they are, it's going to be a harder sell for us to enroll them in our vision of why our solution is most important. For example, if we're selling to a manufacturer and we continue to talk about something that does not apply to them, they aren't actually selling it to the consumer, they're creating it, and we're selling them the raw materials to create it, and we keep talking about something that would be more so suited to a B2C situation, we're going to lose our customer. They're not going to pay attention to us, okay? As a part of that, you want to make sure you give off the understanding that you get their business. You understand their business, you understand their processes, and you can make this process of purchasing a seamless transition because of that, okay? Understanding their issues is just as important as understanding their business model, because you can't solve problems that you don't understand or know about, okay? This is just background about the buyer-seller relationship. Your buyers are trying to control costs when they're purchasing, so they want to spend as little as possible, and your seller is trying to make as much as possible because they're making revenue for the company. So synergy happens when these things are even, and that's where the negotiation comes in at, because you want to make that process of it being more even. Everybody has their own objectives, and everybody is trying to minimize or maximize costs, but we need to make that, have that even playing field, okay? The key here, and one thing that you want to make sure you understand, is that not all buyers within the buying situation are the actual end user. So you can have an end user be a buyer. If we think about a consumer perspective, I'm going into Hibbett Sports and buying sneakers to play basketball, and those sneakers are for me. Versus I'm going in and buying a car for my 16-year-old to drive themselves to school. I'm not the buyer, I'm the buyer. It's my money, but somebody else is going to be the user, right? That's the operator, end user. I'm buying laptops for an organization. HR is going to be the one using them. So I can't buy desktops because HR isn't mobile, versus me buying laptops for our computers for salespeople that have to be on the go. Well, I'm not going to buy them a computer that's going to be 5 pounds. I'm going to buy them a tablet that will convert to a laptop, and it'll be like 1 pound because they have to carry it everywhere and they have to travel a lot. So these are the types of considerations and understanding that a salesperson needs to have of their customer so that they can adjust accordingly. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up reaction. Everybody good? Any questions? Okay. Anna, do you have a question, or you raised your hand from before?
I raised my hand from before. Yeah, I was earlier.
Got it. All right, so when we think about all this background, great information to know, factors that play into a buyer becoming a buyer or starting the purchase process. What do you guys think happens on the back end, whether consciously or unconsciously, to make somebody buy something? Jonathan, what do you think?
I would say if someone has a problem, they're going to need it to have it solved. So when there's an issue within a company, they're going to need to resolve it. So that's one motivational factor into buying something.
That's great. You have your current state, and then you have a desired state. So if it's -4 degrees outside and I don't have a coat that's appropriate, I now have a problem. I need to solve that problem. I need to go buy a coat. All right. Situation repair is going to be our first buyer motivation factor. Okay. Something is broken, needs replacement, repair. Something is happening and it's not working well. We need to repair the situation. We need to make a purchase to fix it. Your car breaks down, that sends you into a buyer mode because you have to fix it. All right. Situation repair is our first buyer motivation. Situation improvement is when you have an opportunity to make something better. So I have a laptop right now. I maxed out the memory. I can expand my memory by getting a new laptop. I can expand my memory by expanding the memory on the laptop. You have a car, but that car doesn't auto start, or that car doesn't have heated seats. There's a situation improvement. It's not necessarily broken, but you can make it better by purchasing. All right. And then situation continuance. Buyer doesn't see value in changing and elects to maintain what they currently have. Forget it. I don't actually need heated seats. I don't need an auto start. It's all good. I'll just keep this car. I don't feel like buying another. All right. So we have situation repair. Nick, give us an example of why or what would happen in a situation repair type of scenario to make somebody purchase.
I mean, like after like multiple uses of something, or once it eventually breaks, there's going to be a need for it. So like for a vacuum or something like that, you're going to need it regardless.
Vacuum.
Just to like clean up your house. So yeah.
Yep. Your vacuum breaks, you kind of need a vacuum. You have carpet, situation repair. You need to fix it or buy another one. Connor, give us a situation improvement example.
Let's say like your car needs a new oh my gosh, what's it called? Like sound system. Like it's not very good and you want it improved.
Okay, so your sound system is crap and you want to make it better. You want to improve your sound system, therefore you are purchasing. Good job. What about situation continuous? Give us a scenario about that, Drew.
You have an Apple Watch and there's like a new model that comes out, but you don't see the value in the new model.
Yep. Apple changed something very minute, and you're like, I don't need that yet. I'll wait to the next generation. Good job, guys. All right. Emotions can play a factor, right? You have all of your friends have the new Apple Watch, and you're like, you know what? I don't want to be left behind. It has this great feature. I need to get that. Okay. So we have emotions like confidence, contentment, discontentment, worry, shame. All of these are the emotions that can play into your buyer motivations. Okay. Salespeople being emotionally intelligent and being able to lean in to those emotions is helpful in this process to help understand, is this buyer being rational or are they being emotional? So we have buyer motivations can be rational or emotional in nature. Okay. You want to make sure to jot that down. Buyer motivations can be emotional or rational in nature. All right. Features and benefits. A feature is a product or service focused attribute that is, it makes it appealing, right? So a feature of a car could be, or a truck could be, that it has a snow mode. So you can switch it to snow mode and drive easily in the snow. The ability to drive easily in the snow is value that feature has, and that's a benefit. So your benefit is customer focused. It's the why of why we like that feature. Grayson, what's an example of a feature and benefit?
It's like Siri on the iPhone.
Okay. Siri is the feature, and what's the benefit?
It's unique to other smartphones, so you can search things on the internet. You can ask her to do like easy functions for you, like set an alarm clock or something like that.
Okay, so that's the function of the feature. What's the benefit? Why do you need those things? What do you get out of doing that?
It makes it more convenient for the person with the phone, so they don't have to like click through, and if they don't know how to operate the phone as well, they could just ask Siri.
Yep. So we have a feature is Siri, the ability to interact with your phone hands-free and create create tasks that she will complete, right? Siri, what's the weather outside? Siri, what's the forecast for the next couple days? The benefit of that is the customer focused, that's hands-free. You could be doing something. You can tell Alexa, set an alarm for 7 a.m. Make sure she wakes you up, but you don't have to open your eyes. You don't have to get out of bed. You don't have to hold or, look at anything. Those are all the benefits. That's how it impacts the consumer's life. Makes it easier, convenient, worry-free, etc. Okay. Let's go to Sammy. Give us another example of a feature and benefit combo.
Okay.
I would say like a feature could be like the remote start on your car, and the benefit would just be like your car's warm by the time you get outside after getting ready and you don't have to wait for it to warm up.
Yep. All right. So you're not cold sitting in the car. That's a benefit. That's time saving for you. That's comfort. Great job. Let's go to Tuesday. Give us another example.
Like maybe like a mattress has memory foam as a feature, but for a benefit, you could sell it to like people who have a hard time sleeping, and it would help them sleep better.
Yeah. Memory foam is more comfortable. It's supporting your back. It contours to your body, making your sleep experience a better one, right? Maybe you sweat in your sleep and it's anti-gel cooling, whatever, right? Good job, guys. So we use these features and benefits to translate the value of something, right? Why should you pay $1,000 or $1,500 for a Tempur-Pedic mattress when you can go down the street and do mattress ABC for $300? The value in that is that these features will benefit your life in these specific ways. So as a salesperson, you're looking at the feature list and you're like, okay, this is great. I know exactly what this provides or what this offers. Now it's my job to translate that value of those features into benefits to know and to help our customer figure out why this is the solution that they need. These are all the benefits. This is how it's going to positively impact your life, AKA the value. That makes sense? Sean, you got a question?
I was just wondering, like, what would like a warranty fall under? Like, would that be a value or like a benefit of like an item or?
Yeah, a warranty would be a benefit, or a warranty is a feature. So it reduces risk, right? Which we'll talk about in a couple slides, but a warranty is seen as it's a feature because it's product focused. It protects your actual investment, and the benefit of it is that if something goes awry, you're covered. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. All right. So the value is it's an informal calculation, right? Value is benefits versus cost. So we talked about the scooter last week. That scooter has value because it's economically conducive to a college budget, right? Excuse me, $1 activation, 25 cents for every minute or whatnot. That gives you an even exchange, or what you perceive as an even exchange for the amount of money you're spending to the comfort that it provides you, right? The feature is that it is something that you can rent. It's something that you don't have to maintain. You can get from point A to point B quicker because it has wheels, essentially, right? The benefit is that you get to point A to point B very quick because of that feature of it having wheels. You don't have to maintain it. You're paying a marginal fee for this convenience. So you're exchanging money for that convenience and that addition, or the convenience, the transportation, and how that is adding to your life. So in your mind, it has more value because you're willing to exchange the money for a saving of time, for a saving of convenience and mental happiness, essentially, because you are saving all of those other areas. So you're willing to have that exchange of money for that service, essentially. If it was $5 activation fee and $3 per minute, that value would not be there because you wouldn't see the benefit outweighing those costs. Does that make sense, everybody? You made a thumbs up? Good. Awesome. All right, so this is really key to remember. That's why we spent so much time on it. You'll see this, we'll revisit this over and over throughout the semester, okay? Our buying decision criteria. This is important because when you look at different features across options, you have to understand what's important and what matters to you. So if, let's take transportation again, right? So right now, it's probably increased a couple, like it was supposed to be negative. It was supposed to feel like -10 this morning, and by 1 o'clock, it's supposed to feel like -3, right? So you might not want to walk. You might not want a scooter. You might not want a skateboard because those have no shelter, essentially. So if the wind is a factor, your decision criteria will change because you want that shelter. So now you want a car versus a motor, a moped, right? Both have wheels, both can go 40 miles an hour, but you want shelter. So your decision criteria has changed because you have a specific feature in mind or something that you're trying to do with the purchase that you're making, okay? We weigh these things in our mind as we buy. So if we, let's say we're looking at different, we want to buy a new PlayStation. So we have the PlayStation 5 as an option, but we have a bunch of games from our PlayStation 3 that we still like to play. Well, a PlayStation 5 running about $500 to $700 now. Depending on if you can find it in a retailer or if you have to rebuy it or buy it from a reseller, right? So price is a factor here if we only have $300, okay? Your quality is another common decision criteria. So if I know I need a winter coat, I have the option to get one from Amazon. I have the option to get one from Walmart. I have the option to pick the brand, and the brand has implications for the quality as well as the price. Overall satisfaction, so how other people have experienced this. All of these are your decision-making criteria where you will say, what's important to me about this purchase? And then you'll weigh options. Let's take liquid eggs, for example. If you go into Walmart, there are 5 different types of liquid eggs. One carton is a pint, one carton is half a gallon. Maybe you are on a trip to Colorado skiing, you don't need a whole gallon, you want half, right? That's your decision-making criteria. So common ones: price, quality, satisfaction, ability to deliver on time. If I'm on Amazon, I'm trying to get a gift for Valentine's Day, I forgot. Well, obviously, I'm not gonna pick the thing that's gonna take a week to deliver or 6 months to deliver. I'm gonna filter it by next day delivery, 2-day delivery to make sure that it gets there in time. These are your decision criteria, okay? From a buyer perspective, they have complex situations that they are trying to solve. So it might not be as clean cut as Do I want a small piece of gum that I can chew on for a little amount of time versus a big piece of gum that'll last me longer? They are trying to figure out, okay, I have a team of 20. I need these specifications in the dashboard solution. How do I maximize my ability to get what I need for all my team members, right? So it's a little bit more complex, and that's another reason why it's so important for a salesperson to understand the circumstances, what they need, and their business model, okay? Let's see. Emily, what's an example that you can think of from consumer life for decision criteria?
I'm looking to buy a new car, so that's kind of what comes to mind for me. I need something that has good gas mileage. So that's kind of a big decision criteria for me, something that can get me to place to place the cheapest way possible because gas is
Great example. Transportation, your car, you got to buy a new car. Thousands of cars out there. You want something that's important, that's good on gas mileage because you want to get your bang for your buck when you are filling up your tank, and gas is expensive these days. Great example. That filters out your options. So you're not going to go buy a Hummer. It's horrible on gas, right? You want something that's a little bit more economical on gas. That's going to impact your decision making. All right. So this is the overall process, but something is missing here. A lot of times a salesperson ideally will enter into the buying process and the information search and the evaluation of alternatives because that is the place where they can have the biggest impact. What's missing are determining our decision criteria determination, right? We have a need. We know that we recognize that need. We need to make a purchase. We're trying to gather information. We do an information search. We're asking our friends, family, and loved ones, what do you use? What's your solution? We're asking coworkers, how do you solve this problem? For example, a small business, they need a CRM, customer relationship management solution to manage the sales process for their customers. They ask other small businesses, they're Googling. Then they think, okay, decision criteria. I need something that's going to help me manage up through the sales process, but also allow me to maintain contact. That's going to filter out my decision, my options. I can no longer just get any CRM. Now I'm looking for a specific type of CRM that will help with this specific problem. Evaluate alternatives. These are the subset of CRMs that will solve this problem that I'm having. Make a decision. You are going to purchase it, and then post-purchase, I hate this, I love this, etc. All right, so this is the whole decision-making process. Go from need, search out information. Based on that information, you determine what are your deal breakers, what's most important for you, evaluate the alternatives of what's left, make a purchase, post-purchase evaluation. Any questions on this? All right. Who cares? Timing, right? We want to make sure that we are able to add value and a contribution to this process, solve the problem that they have, and then of course we want the customer to be satisfied. All right. We have some factors in this process that is impacting the buying situation: risk, complexity of the process, complexity of the product, your decision level, your timeline for purchase, and your commoditization of the purchase. All right. We only have a couple minutes left in class, so we'll stop here and we'll resume next week on Tuesday. Any questions for me? Anybody? All right, well, if I'll stick around for a couple minutes, if anybody has questions or anything they want to go over or ask, And I will see you guys in person on Tuesday.